Hey guys, it's Cable today in a new orange flavor, and this is the May 2024 developer update. This will be the update that comes with the anniversary patch, the new killer, the new map, the survivor, the whatever. Um, so it should be in a couple of weeks. I've already skimmed through everything, so I'm just discussing, my thoughts about it. But overall, if you just want my immediate thoughts, I'd say that this is probably the best update we've had in recent time. I can't really think of anything bad about it at all. Um, and I guess really for now, only time will tell if these changes will be good or bad, because a lot of them are really hard to tell at face value how good they'll be. So let's go over it. First, we have Chucky. Um, First, let me just start by saying Chucky's like in my tier list videos that I have on my channel. My placement, a lot of people disagreed with because in my mind, Chucky's whole thing is he doesn't really have a power for 20 seconds. But when he has his power, he just gets a free hit. No matter what, he just always gets a free hit. So I placed him super high, like super, super high. A lot of people disagreed with it. I tried to make it a little bit more believable by saying, oh, he's not really S tier, he's just like super high A tier. Still feel like some people disagreed, so I don't know. But besides, beyond that, after this balance patch, maybe we could put that past us and place him somewhere new. Will this make him worse? Yes, overall, this is a nerf. It'll probably make him he'll still be strong on like good killer maps, but he'll probably struggle more on maps like the game or other maps now. So he's definitely worse, but only time will tell if he's actually bad. I still think he will be good. Basically, sorry, I should have explained the actual balance first before my thoughts. But basically, it just he can't scamper under pallets anymore. But instead of having a super long cooldown, he can use his power more frequently. So it's instead of 18, it's 12. And what will it be with the one add-on? 11, 10 seconds probably. Yeah, probably like 10 seconds. So he could do that, but he can only scamper while using slice and dice. So he'll be able to be in stealth more often, and he'll be able to use slice and dice more often, but he won't just, a survivor won't just drop a pallet in front of his face, and then he immediately scampers and then goes under and gets a free hit. He's going to have to preemptively slice and dice or make a proper read or anything like that. As well as it decreases the time it takes to scamper. That should make it feel a little bit better for the player. But obviously the fact that you can't get a free guaranteed hit anymore at every single place won't feel as good. But that it doesn't matter how good that will or won't feel, because you shouldn't be able to get a free hit anywhere. So I think this is good, but we'll have to see when the patch goes live how good he actually is. Next we have Leatherface. This is actually says minor update. This is actually a pretty good update for Leatherface. So only buffs here, no nerfs other than maybe his add-ons, because what they're doing is they're basically just putting the award-winning chili into base kit. Right now the chili is 0.25 and the award-winning chili is 0.5. So they're putting the award-winning chili into base kit. They're probably going to tone down the chilies a little bit by like 0.05 and 0.1 respectively. And then they increase the movement speed to a little bit. That's not quite the engravings speed, but still a nice buff regardless. Probably, honestly, his best change is the collision. The scariest thing is playing a Leatherface on Eerie of Crows and trying to avoid those little shrubs, bushes, whatever. It's so bad. And then, of course, if you actually still do tantrum into something, it's not going to be as punishing. So this is great. This is fine, and then these two changes are just to make him an actual killer, because right now you have to either use double chili or chili with an engravings. So this will allow for more add-on variety. Next is Deathslinger. These are all fine. Decrease stun to make it 2.7 seconds instead of 3. This is just to make it more in line with killer M1 cooldown. The real speed, this isn't super impactful, but good regardless. And then this is a pretty significant change, a really nice one, a welcome one. Nothing crazy here. These are all very welcome changes. Deathslinger still may not be the most fun killer to face, but ever since they made it to where ADS isn't instantaneous, buffs are absolutely welcome. Um, Wesker. So Wesker is probably the best design killer in Dead by Daylight. This change is really good. So it decreased hindered penalty from 4% to 8%. This is great. One of the worst things about Wesker right now is his infection. When you get fully infected, you're 8% hindered. So it doesn't matter how much better. The survivor could be 400 times better than the killer, and they were going to catch you regardless because you're 8% slower. So that's terrible. And then, so reducing that is fine. Yeah, honestly, from 8% to 4%, that's totally fine. This change, however, this maybe not. So right now, Wesker's whole thing, that's keeping him from being an absolutely flawless killer is just the fact that he can tunnel super well. Because survivors are gonna be infected when they get hooked, and they're gonna get the full infection eventually. They're gonna have to spray themselves, so Wesker can just be a super tunneler. You're guaranteed to find them eventually. So maybe this isn't how I would have changed this, but it's fine. It's fine. And like I said, Wesker's already the best design killer in the game. He would probably be flawless if they would fine tune this a little bit and make it a little bit better. These are just iridescent add-on blight nerfs. I would have just given these rework. I would have just given both of these another rework, but a nerf is welcome. This by far was his best add-on, and this was also a super strong add-on, and then being nerfed, it's whatever. This is also for the most part a fine change. I'm fine with this more Sabo heavy playstyles because it's more of a interactive dynamic between the killer and the survivor. I'm not sure how much, what the numbers will be. I highly doubt Alex's toolbox, the super Sabo one, will be affected. But again, only time will tell. We don't have any numbers right now, so this really is hard to tell if it'll be good or bad. But if they do the numbers right, I'm sure it'll be good. Just because it'll incentivize Saboing more, which is fun. Deadlock, super high usage perk. The devs probably just looked at the usage rates. They saw that it was super high. They probably just wanted to lower those. That seems to be the main idea for most of these perk changes, is to just nerf them so that way the numbers go down a little bit. This is fine. I'm actually quite glad it got a slight nerf because it could give you very strong value super passively. Like, the whole point of it is that it's a passive slowdown perk. You don't have to apply anything. It's super, super easy value. So a slight nerf is totally fine. Background player. So I don't know what the general census on this perk is for people. I hate this perk. I do not like this perk being at 200% movement speed. When survivors move at 200% movement speed, they look like they're cheating. They look like hackers. So decreasing the movement speed to 150%, but then decreasing the exhaustion duration, totally fine. I think this is a perfect compensation buff for this nerf. I think this is a totally fine way to find the even ground, because it was like this, the 40-second cooldown with 150. They buffed it to 200. That rendered to be stupid. So now it's down to 150, but you can use it more often. So maybe the saves aren't as easy, but you could go for them more often. Totally fine. I think this perk will be not necessarily fun to face, but probably not as annoying. Grim Embrace, just a 2-second nerf to every hook. This isn't bad. This isn't a bad change, but there's not a lot to talk about. This is not how I would have done this. I would have not given it this nerf. I would have done something else. What would I have done? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but I wouldn't have done this. But this is fine. This is welcome. Decisive Strike, it really seems like they can't do this perk well. When Decisive Strike was 5 seconds, it was too strong, so they nerfed it. When it was 3 seconds, it was super weak against the top tier killers, but it was still super strong against the low tier killers. So now it's down to 4 seconds, which will kind of have the same thing, where it's like it'll affect some killers more than others, which that's going to be a bit of a reoccurring idea that I have with most of these perk changes. So, for example, let's get into the next one. So Pop, they probably just nerfed Pop to, because it is a very high use perk. And, I understand, I get it. A killer apply, you do a gen and maybe a teammate doesn't commit, so the killer comes and pops it. You do the gen more, the killer pops it. You do it more, the killer pops it. You do it more, the killer pops it. That could be really frustrating. But I don't know really how to explain it. But this game, like, you need a regression perk. This game is balanced around using regression perks, which is why Pop has always been popular. It was like the best regression perk when it came out. It was the best regression perk for a while. Even after its duration nerf from 1 minute to 45 seconds, it was still really powerful. Then Painter's came out. That was the best, but Pop was still strong. When it got its initial nerf, rework nerf in 6.1 or whatever that update was, the 40 meta perk shakeup, I think this is what it was. I think it was 20% of current progress, and it was not that great, and then they buffed it to 30, and it was super strong. So, like, the issue here with Pop was that good killers could apply it way too well. Blight could use it well. Nurse could use it well. Spirit could even use it well. Chucky, of course, when he came out, I thought he was really, really strong. He could use it well. All the top tier killers can use it well. And all the bottom tier killers kind of get carried by it, So, like, since the game's revolved around one regression perk, or, like, balanced around the killer having one regression perk, low tier killers benefited a lot from using Pop with other perks. Whereas if you had a Blight with 4 regression perks, he was unstoppable. You just couldn't. It felt, there was no hope. The killer would just win. So it's more of just like a tone it down to reduce the numbers. But this this whole, like, idea that regression, shouldn't. I don't know. It just. The weaker killer, it's more of an issue of, like, how strong Nurse is as opposed to, like, Trapper and Freddy. The strongest killers are just so much more powerful than the weaker killers that it makes every perk in the game so bad. They literally had to nerf Awakened Awareness because of Nurse. So because of certain killers, it shifts the balance of the entire game just because of certain killers. So it's like, but this is fine. It's a bit of a topic that can be discussed later on, but for now, that's okay. In my opinion, it gives more room for variety because other lesser used perks could shine now, which is nice. Variety is very welcome, and I like variety. Buckle Up. I actually quite like this change. So right now, Buckle Up. When survivors get picked up from the ground, they'll get haste. Endurance, as it says here. But now they'll get a speed boost. So when a survivor picks up another survivor with Buckle Up right in front of the killer, they're going to basically make the same amount of distance that they would if you were just waiting out the 10 seconds. If you hit them through the endurance, or if you just wait it out, they'll still make tons of distance because it's 10 seconds. So this is actually a very welcome change. It can still be used quite well on teams. It awards smart use of it. And it's not as much of a brainless perk. What I probably would have done is maybe just made it to where it wouldn't work with For the People. But I actually quite like what they did here. I'm perfectly okay with this. This is a wonderful change. Pain Resonance, again, went from 25% to 20%. I still think this will be the strongest killer. Well, it'll still be very powerful. Again, time will tell if it's the strongest, like it is pretty much now, but, now instead of having to do basically one full extra generator, you only have to do 80% of an extra generator. So, yeah, still a lot. Again, I think they're just trying to go for the nerf Pop, Pain Res, and the other super popular perks. Weaving Spider is probably the biggest change in this entire update. Decreased invocation time from 60 seconds from 2 minutes, so 1 minute instead of 2 minutes. And it also doesn't regress as quickly. So before, it would take 2 minutes, it breaks the survivor for the rest of the match, and if the killer interrupted it, it would just disappear. So it took way too much time, it was too risky, and the payoff was not worth it. Now, none of those things are true. The payoff will probably be worth it. It won't, you won't get punished as harshly if killers actually come to you, and the downside is, like, this is way worth it, and it takes way less time, of course. So, yeah, this perk may be worth running now. It looks quite good. A bit worrisome of all the things, but not quite. We'll have to see how it fares. But killers may want to start running Territorial Imperative. My heart, I love that perk. It sucks, but I use it all the time because it's funny. Decimated Borgo, this is great. Shattered Square is like, it's so bad just from how red it is. So now it's just a nighttime map, which from this screenshot I actually quite like it. But unless they change the actual map itself in some way, I still don't think this map will be enjoyable to play on. It's not a good map. And then this is just quality of life. So everything here is fine. Again, like I said, the actual balance, for the most part, this is probably the best update we've had in like the past 4. So I'm quite happy with everything here. It looks like they did everything right. Nerf the strong, buff the weak, and then, you know, here they just did a bunch of perk nerfs and then 1 perk buff. So yeah, I would like to see more perk buffs, more low tier killer buffs, but yeah, everything here is fine. I have no complaints. That's good.